Smart men a long time ago knew something about real strength. Today's good men get it wrong. The harder you try to prove you are worth something after you fail, the less respect you get. You build skills, you earn respect, you get results. Then one bad thing happens, and it wants to break everything. You start to doubt choices that used to be easy. You stay away from risks that built your name. Being scared of failing again makes you weaker than the real failure did. In the next 20 minutes, you will learn the Roman way that turns your bad times into steel mind. Only 3 out of 100 good men ever find this way. Brain doctors took 1,800 years to find it again. By the end, you will never need to prove how tough you are after every problem. But here is what took years to learn. You can know every rule and still fail. There is one missing piece, the mental steel switch, that separates men who read Marcus Aurelius from men who become him. Miss this piece, and everything else is just smart talk. Marcus Aurelius wrote his thoughts while leading Rome through sickness, war, and people turning against him. He wrote from war tents, where failure meant death for millions. He figured out something about handling failure that brain doctors took 1,800 years to find again. While Harvard researchers studied bounce-back ability in 1970, Romans were building it in 170 AD. The emperor who ran the known world faced the same fear you do. What happens when you fail at something that matters? His answer became the base for mental strength that survives any bad thing. But here is the key part. He did not get over his failures. He turned them into strength right away. You are about to learn this mental steel switch that changes how you think about failure forever. Most men try to get better from bad times. Smart men a long time ago used bad times as stuff to build with. One way heals you, the other makes you someone failure cannot touch. Do not click away. This ends the fear cycle that keeps good men trapped in their heads. Smart men a long time ago figured out something about smart men making worse choices after they fail. They called it the ghost chain. It is when one bad thing becomes the invisible anchor that pulls down every future choice. Watch how this mental trap works. You make a choice based on your skills and what you know. Maybe you trusted someone who let you down. Maybe you took a smart risk that did not work out. The failure happens. You learn from it. You move forward, or so you think. But here is the brain trick that hurts the respect you have earned. That failure becomes an invisible point that controls every similar situation after that. When someone questions your judgment, that past mistake becomes the voice in your head that agrees with them. When you need to make another bold choice, that old failure whispers, "Remember what happened last time." Warriors a long time ago had zero tolerance for this mental weakness that still catches modern men. They saw through this pattern right away because their lives needed making strong choices even after losses. They knew something brain science caught up to hundreds of years later. Being scared of failure becomes more dangerous than failure itself. This 2,000-year-old mental trap explains why smart men make choices that hurt their own respect. You start to edit yourself before you speak. You ask for more opinions before you act. You build more safety nets before you move. You tell yourself you are being wise. But ghost failure now sits at the table when you make choices. Remember that mental steel switch? You are getting closer to getting it. These smart rules work, but only if you turn on that missing piece that separates book smarts from lived mental armor. Here's the test. After a big bad thing, Do you make choices faster or slower? Do you trust your judgment more or less? If failure made you more careful rather than more able, ghost chains control your choices. Marcus Aurelius faced this exact mental trap after war defeats. Seneca wrote about it after money losses. Sun Tzu warned about it after plan failures. They all found the same truth. Able men who let failure change how they make choices lose more than the original failure ever cost. The ghost chain breaks the moment you find that mental steel switch. Until then, every bad thing trains you to be more careful. After you find it, every bad thing proves you cannot be broken. Harvard brain doctors found learned helplessness in 1967. That is how failure changes future behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote about it in 180 AD. He called it the prison we build from our own defeats. He figured this out 1,800 years before researchers won prizes for finding it. Stanford researchers proved that fear of failure creates lasting brain bias in 1975. Seneca spotted this mental trap in 65 AD. He warned that we suffer more in our heads than in reality. Princeton scientists found that past bad experiences change how we make choices in 1978. Sun Tzu wrote about it in 500 BC. He said, "Know yourself after defeat, or defeat will know you forever." Brain science spent decades studying why good people become risk-scared after bad times. Smart thinkers a long time ago solved this puzzle thousands of years ago. They could not afford to let failure weaken their judgment. Roman emperors, Greek warriors, Chinese generals, they all face the same mental trap you face when skill meets unexpected failure. Here is what research finally caught up to. The brain cannot tell the difference between learning from failure and being controlled by failure. Smart thinking a long time ago knew this by gut feeling. Romans made specific mental practices to take lessons without accepting weakness. Warriors created choice-making rules that used failure without being frozen by it. The difference shows why smart thinking a long time ago beats modern therapy for building respect. Brain science studies the problem and helps you work through failure. Smart thinking gives the solution and helps you beat failure. But here is where the mental steel switch becomes key. Most men think Roman strength means hiding feelings about failure. This wrong thinking is exactly why they miss the missing piece. Marcus Aurelius felt every failure deeply. The difference was not feeling nothing. It was feeling transformation. The mental steel switch turns on this combination. Without it, you have either smart quotes or modern therapy. With it, you have unbreakable mental structure that turns every failure into proof of your strength. What would a strong Roman emperor say about having to prove how tough you are over and over after one mistake? Marcus Aurelius faced this exact situation running an empire during its hardest time. War defeats that cost thousands of lives. Political backstabbing from trusted advisors, personal losses that broke his family. But here's what he got that modern good men miss. Failure is not the problem that needs fixing. How you respond to failure is either the base for greater strength or the start of mental weakness. There is no middle ground. Think about the pattern you have lived. You make a choice based on your skills and years of what you know. It does not work out as planned. The failure happens. You admit it. You tell yourself you have learned from it. But then something subtle changes in how you approach similar situations. You start asking for more input before choosing. You build in more safety measures before acting. You take longer to think through options before committing. You tell yourself this represents wisdom. But ghost failure now sits at every choice-making table with you. Warriors a long time ago saw this pattern as mental poison that had to be killed right away. They got that carrying failure forward weakens every future choice. Not because learning is bad, but because most men mix up learning with fear. Real learning takes the valuable lesson and throws away the emotional baggage. Fear learning keeps both. Here is the key difference. Marcus Aurelius did not work through his failures through stages of grief. He turned them into strength right away. He did not work through his defeats with time and thinking. He changed them into strategic advantage within hours. The difference is between recovery and domination. Smart brain science says, accept the failure. Learn from it. Develop healthy coping strategies. Build toughness over time. Smart thinking a long time ago says, change the failure into proof of your strength right now. Use it as evidence of your ability to handle anything. Let it show your mental toughness to yourself right now. One approach heals you back to where you were before. The other forges you into someone stronger than you were before. One restores your confidence. The other builds steel mind that cannot be shaken. But here is where most men miss the mental steel switch completely. They think Roman strength means hiding feelings about failure. They think warrior mentality means pretending bad things do not hurt. This thinking is completely backwards. Marcus Aurelius felt every failure deeply. His personal writings show disappointment, frustration, and real doubt. Seneca admitted the real pain of money ruin. Sun Tzu admitted the sting of war defeat. The difference is not feeling nothing. It is feeling transformation. Instead of letting feelings create caution that weakens future choices, they used feelings as raw stuff for mental construction. Instead of letting disappointment make them careful and hesitant, they let it make them fierce and determined. This is why this mental steel switch took smart men a long time ago, decades to perfect. They were not naturally tougher than you. They were not born with superior emotional control. They just found a different relationship with failure. The mental steel switch flips your basic relationship with bad times. Instead of asking, how do I prevent this from happening again? You ask, how does this make me stronger right now? One question creates defensive caution. The other creates offensive strength. Remember that missing piece that makes everything work? You are almost there. The switch breaks the ghost chain the moment you stop trying to protect yourself from future failure and start using past failure as evidence of your ability. Every bad thing becomes proof that you can handle bad things. Every mistake becomes proof that you survive mistakes. Every failure becomes proof that you are failure-proof. Most men never make this mental shift because they are trying to work through failure rather than transform it. Working through keeps you in ongoing relationship with the failure. Transforming makes you permanently stronger than the failure. The warrior who survives battle does not become afraid of battle. He becomes confident he can survive battle. The man who transforms failure does not become cautious about failure. He becomes living proof that failure cannot break him. This internal shift changes everything about how others respond to you after bad times. They do not see someone who survived failure and recovered. They see someone who ate failure and became stronger. Your confidence is real and earned through actual achievement and proven skill. Your toughness is proven through obstacles you have already beaten. But confidence and steel mind are not the same thing. Confidence can be damaged by unexpected failure. Steel mind cannot be touched by anything. Think about the difference between hoping failure will not happen again and knowing you can transform whatever happens next into strength. One position makes you defensive about your name. The other makes you dangerous to anything that challenges you. What would Marcus Aurelius recognize as the step beyond confidence? He would see the difference between men who succeed and men who are immune to failure. Success can be temporary. Immunity is permanent. Success depends on good outcomes. Immunity grows stronger through bad outcomes. Here is what happens when you complete this transformation through the mental steel switch. Instead of failure making you question your judgment, it proves your judgment is strong enough to survive being wrong. Instead of bad times making you more careful about future risks, they make you more able to handle any outcome. Instead of mistakes making you seek more approval, they show you do not need anyone's permission to make bold choices. The shift happens in your relationship with uncertainty itself. Confident men try to make good choices and hope for positive outcomes. Men with steel minds know they can transform bad outcomes into personal strength. This changes everything about how you approach risk, opportunity, and challenge. People feel this difference in your presence right away. They stop testing your resolve after failure because they can sense failure did not weaken you. It strengthened you. They stop questioning your judgment after mistakes because they recognize someone who views mistakes as information, not identity. But here is the completion that most men never reach. This is not about becoming emotionally numb or pretending failure does not matter. Smart men a long time ago felt failure deeply. They just refused to let it change their essential nature or choice-making ability. Pain from failure is valuable information. Weakness from failure is optional choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this during the worst times of his reign. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not strength despite failure, but strength through failure. The emperor who ran the known world got something that escapes most modern leaders. Skill that survives failure is totally different from skill that avoids failure. One makes you good under good conditions. The other makes you unstoppable under any conditions. This is the completion that confident men sense, but rarely achieve. You move from someone who succeeds despite obstacles to someone who uses obstacles as raw stuff for greater ability. The respect you earn from this position is completely different from respect earned through success alone. Success-based respect is conditional. Steel mind respect is permanent. Warriors a long time ago called this becoming unbreakable. Not because nothing could hurt you, but because everything that hurt you made you stronger than before. Here is the mental steel switch that makes everything we have covered actually work. The basic question you ask yourself after any failure or bad thing. Most men ask, how do I prevent this from happening again? This question creates defensive caution that weakens future choices. It puts you in relationship with failure as something to avoid and protect against. It makes failure your teacher in the wrong direction, teaching you to be more careful instead of more able. The mental steel switch changes your basic question to, how does this make me stronger right now? This question creates offensive strength that improves future abilities. It puts failure to work for you right away as raw stuff for mental construction. It makes failure your ally in building steel confidence. One question creates ghost chains that pull down every similar situation. The other creates mental steel that makes you immune to being broken by circumstances. One keeps you in ongoing relationship with failure as something that weakened you. The other transforms failure into proof of your strength right away. This is not positive thinking or reframing techniques. This is using failure as actual raw stuff for mental construction and the way Marcus Aurelius did during the worst times of his reign. He did not overcome his defeats through time and working through them. He changed them into strategic advantage within hours through this switch. Seneca did not recover from his losses through stages of grief. He transformed them into wisdom that made him stronger right away. Sun Tzu did not learn despite his failures. He learned through them by changing bad times into tactical intelligence. The switch turns on the moment you stop trying to protect yourself from failure and start using failure to prove your strength to yourself. Every mistake becomes proof that you can make mistakes and continue. Every bad thing becomes evidence that bad things do not break you. Every failure becomes confirmation that you are failure-proof. This transforms your entire relationship with risk and uncertainty. Bold choices become natural because you know you can transform bad outcomes into personal strength. People sense this transformation in your presence right away and permanently. They stop viewing you as someone who needs to avoid failure and start recognizing someone who uses failure as fuel for greater ability. Starting tomorrow, when any bad thing or failure happens, small or large, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, how does this make me stronger right now? Instead of, how do I prevent this from happening again? This works in every situation. Work mistake, family disappointment, social rejection, money loss. The question stays the same. Find one specific way this bad thing proves your ability to handle difficulty. Maybe it shows you can survive embarrassment. Maybe it proves you can function under pressure. Maybe it proves you can continue after being wrong. Within 24 hours, you will notice your relationship with failure starting to shift. Instead of feeling weakened by bad times, you will start feeling stronger. Instead of becoming more careful after mistakes, you will become more confident. This single question turns on the mental steel switch that smart men a long time ago used to become unbreakable. This Roman rule is one piece of a complete thinking system that smart men a long time ago used to become completely unshakable under any pressure. Marcus Aurelius combined steel mind with strategic thinking, emotional sovereignty, and wisdom mastery to control the known world during its hardest time. Other smart men a long time ago found different pieces of the mental armor puzzle. Sun Tzu figured out how to make strategic choices that earn respect, even under extreme pressure. Seneca mastered emotional control that others admire during crisis. Socrates developed wisdom that could not be challenged by anyone. Each rule builds on the others to create complete mental armor against everything modern life can throw at you. Men who master the mental steel switch are ready for the strategic rules that make bold choices automatic. Join men who are building unbreakable mental strength through timeless wisdom. Subscribe for the next piece. Strategic sovereignty. The Sun Tzu method that makes others seek your guidance during crisis instead of questioning your judgment under pressure. The mental steel switch is your foundation. Strategic sovereignty is your next step. When you embody steel mind thinking, others feel your unbreakable nature without you saying a word about your struggles. Failure does not make you careful and defensive. It makes you more confident and able. Bad times do not make you hesitant and cautious. They make you more formidable and determined. This mental steel switch has passed from teacher to student for thousands of years because it works regardless of what you face. Marcus Aurelius carried this torch through sickness, war, and political upheaval. Seneca kept it through exile, money ruin, and political persecution. Sun Tzu preserved it through war defeat and career setbacks. Now you carry the torch that smart men a long time ago lit with their own transformed failures. Every bad thing you convert into strength continues their legacy of unbreakable men. Every failure you transform into ability shows their teaching works across centuries. The respect you earn creates space for others to grow beyond their failures too. Your example shows them what is possible when someone refuses to be broken by circumstances. Steel minds forge others' steel minds. The unbreakable create the unbreakable.